Finding a good accountant was one of the best and first things I ever did for my own online business. It's so hard though to find a good accountant, especially who understands what you do. So I am so excited today to dive in and give you a couple of tips and tricks on how to find the best accountant for your small business. I'm Vander, an attorney turned entrepreneur who helps online coaches, course creators, and service providers legally protect and grow their online businesses using my DIY legal templates and my ultimate bundle training. I help people learn how to get paid, make sure that they protect their content, and stay sane, all while learning how to actually grow their business and not being afraid of being sued. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I drop a new video every Monday and Thursday here on YouTube. If you're not following me already, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and ring the bell to get a notification every single time I drop a hot legal tip or some business advice. So I'm a big believer in, well, probably in taking the preventative route or like the early route to a lot of different things. But I am so glad that I did this with an accountant. And that's why I am always telling people nowadays, do this earlier than you think you need it. But then they're like, but what do I look for in an accountant? How do I find one? Do you have anybody that you recommend? So first of all, here's why I recommend going to an accountant early in your business, even if you're like, I have no money to manage, right? First of all, they can help you set things up. So some accountants will actually help you to actually set up and form your business. You can use my videos and trainings and my Ultimate Bundle program to help you with the legal side and going to them to tell them, this is the kind of business I want to set up. But once you've done that and you've made the informed decision, they often can help you actually do that. So that's a good cost saving measure and tip. The other thing is that you want to work with an accountant early so that you learn how to properly set things up, so that you take advantage of all tax savings and business deductions. And if you have another job or if you file taxes jointly with a partner or spouse, then you want to make sure that you're doing things correctly when it comes to filing your taxes in the future. Just like pretty much everything when it comes to legal, you don't want to call an accountant on April 14th of next year to say, hey, I started a business last year and here are my receipts and here's what I did. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody along the way who's helping you to figure things out, manage that money, figuring out if you even owe any taxes or figuring out what things you're able to take advantage of? I think so. So in my opinion, this process should start early. And, I think it's just more about finding somebody who you really mesh with. So let's hop into what to look for in an accountant for your small business. So the first thing I always look for when it comes to an accountant, a business insurance agent, a lawyer, is somebody who listens. And I don't just mean somebody who goes, the whole time you talk, but who you actually feel like is taking the time to listen to you, especially about what you do, right? So often people, when we go to other service providers, they don't really understand so wait, are you a blogger? Are you a YouTuber? Because you have a YouTube channel, right? It's a little bit different, right? When you're an online coach or you're a course creator. So that's going to be really important when you're talking to an accountant. Like, for example, do you need to pay sales tax on the products or the items that you're selling? That would be something that you should be able to call and talk with your accountant about. But if they're not able to listen to you and really hear what it is that you do and truly understand it, then you're never going to get the advice that's best for your online business. So that's why listening is always number one. The second thing I want you to look for in an accountant for your online business is somebody who communicates. And yes, I just mean who communicates with you well and who talks with you and tells you things ahead of time. Nobody wants that accountant who's like, oh, did I remember to tell you to pay your taxes? That kind of thing. But I also mean somebody who is open to communicating with you throughout the year. Whether you're a year into business or 6 years into business like I am, you're going to have questions. I have questions all the time. I'm a lawyer. I was forced to take tax law. It was the most brutal class I've ever taken in law school. But that might not be true. It might have actually been statutory law. Anyway, so it was pretty brutal. And I have questions all the time. You know why? Because things are evolving. Things are changing all the time, not only with my own business, but with tax code, right? So we're going to have questions. And if I could pass any tip along to you, it would be that you cannot be every single expert in your business, right? You already have to be a lot of experts when you're early on in your business. You're a copywriter and you're a funnel strategist and you're the chief marketing person. And then you're the one who actually produces the product and works with the client, right? But You don't have to be your own accountant, your own lawyer, that kind of stuff. So pass that stuff, pass the more professional stuff off to somebody else. And so you want to have somebody who you can just call and say, hey, Laura, that's my accountant. I love her. Shout out to Lauren. Hey, Laura, I don't understand. Like, am I allowed to do this? Or I just keep getting so confused about this. I remember in the beginning calling Lauren all the time and being like, I am just so confused about quarterly tax payments because how do I estimate them when I haven't had a business before, right? And she was so patient and kind and understanding in talking me through that. So it's really important that when you're looking for an accountant, I would ask them, am I able to call you when I have questions? Am I able to email you? Do I get charged for that? That's a definite follow-up question, right? I think people should get paid what they're worth, don't get me wrong, but I do find it very comforting to know that my accountant is not the kind who nickel and dimes me for every question that I have, right? I'm sure if I wanted to have a super in-depth meeting or do some, actually needed her to produce some work, of course she would get paid for that. But it made me feel really secure as a new business owner that I found somebody who I asked her, would it be okay with you if when I have a question here or there, can I add you to my QuickBooks account so that if I do have a question, you can go in and see what I'm talking about? And her saying yes made it a definite yes on my end to choose her as my accountant. The third thing you want to look for are clear fees. So you want straightforward fees, not maybe even an hourly charge, I think, when you're a new business owner. So somebody who pays you who you pay a flat fee to file your taxes is a no-brainer, right? They should be able to clearly and quickly tell you how much they charge for that. Maybe they also have an additional flat fee service of, producing your quarterly tax payments or being on retainer for a certain number of hours of work throughout the year. That's something I would definitely look for. The fourth thing I want you to look for, both within yourself, but also mostly with your accountant, is patience. So if you're getting a vibe already when you're talking with an accountant who you're trying to see if you're the right fit, that they're not patient with your level of understanding of what's going on about all of this tax stuff, that's not someone who I would work with as a new business owner, because you need to feel confident and secure to communicate with this person, to reach out as often as you need to until you get it and until you feel good about it. So much of why I do what I do on the legal side is because I feel like people don't have access to this kind of care and attention with lawyers, right? They feel intimidated. They're made to feel silly or stupid, or like things are overly complicated. Like lawyers like to puff up a lot of things and make it super fancy when it's actually quite simple. So I think it's really helpful in finding an accountant who's very similar in just having the patience to understand that you are a new business owner and it's going to take time. And you need to stand up for yourself. If you don't do anything else, I am encouraging you after you watch this video to stand up for yourself, that you deserve that. If you are not an accountant yourself, then you're not meant to know and understand all of this stuff. It's okay, right? It's okay. So it's really about finding somebody who's going to be patient enough with you. The fifth thing I look for in an accountant is audit protection. So if you call and you ask, what is your fee to file my taxes for me and my business? I would also ask, do you offer any sort of audit protection if I were to ever get audited? In other words, will they back up their filings, right? So they file your taxes for you. Will they back it up on their end to process the paperwork and do all the things they have to do with the IRS when or if you ever got audited? The sixth thing I want you to look for in an accountant is if you know somebody who has a similar kind of business who's working with that accountant already. So a lot of times after I give people these tips, they're like, great, so now who do I work with? Well, I can't really tell you because I live in New York. Maybe you don't work with somebody, or you don't live here, so you have to work with somebody different. There are lots of people available online that might be an option you want to explore. But if you want to work with somebody in person, I would encourage you to reach out to a local business person that you know, a friend that you know online, maybe who has a business as well, and ask them who they're working with. I think that's like the fastest way to get to a good accountant. That's actually how I found mine. So that's where I would start. Let me know in the comments which tip here was the most helpful. Was it helpful to ask about patience or the audit protection or finding out what their fees are? Let me know in the comments which tip was helpful. Make sure you hit subscribe, and I can't wait to see you here again on YouTube so soon.